Yeah, you can do that.
During your session or now?
Yeah, during my session.
Yeah, that is possible. You can share the screen.
Sure.
So it's another session is going on, or it's a break time?
No, just in one. It's a break time.
Okay.
So normally when the conference is held in a physical mode, it would we have tea breaks and lunch breaks. So
Okay.
we are requesting the speakers to have their own tea during the break. So at least that's why.
Yeah.
So this is the third session since morning.
Okay.
And since morning, we have had participants from Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Macedonia, UK, Bangladesh, and India.
Okay. That's great.
Yes, Mohit, it is one. You can start. We have two moderators. Mohit is CS Mohit Shaw and CS Ankita Ghosh.
Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon.
May I start?
Yes, please.
The word professional is not a label which you give it to yourself. It is actually an expectation which you expect from others to give it to you. A very warm welcome to all the speakers, moderator, and all the participants from different parts of the world. Welcome in the third session of ICST 2020, an international conference post-COVID economic revival organized by Curiosity. My name is CS Mohit Shah, and first of all, I'm very grateful to the organizers for inviting me as a moderator. And at the same time, I would like to invite and introduce the eminent panel of speakers for this session. We have with us today CS Ashish Garg, President, Institute of Company Secretaries of India. The second speaker on the panel is CS Sanjeev Sanghi, Central Council Member, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. And at last but not the least, CS Rupanjana De, Practicing Company Secretary and Editor of Curiosity. I, on behalf of the organizers, welcome you all for this amazing session. The topic of this session is Rebuilding a Global Force, the Role of Professionals. And to move ahead with the proceedings and the rules for this session, I will now invite CS and my co-moderator, Ankita Ghosh, to kindly carry forward from here. Ankita, over to you.
Thank you, Mohit. Thank you. I welcome three of the speakers to this panel. I would just shortly explain you the rules. As we have two stalwarts from two institutes, Institute of Chartered Accountants and Institute of Company Secretaries. So we'd love to hear them. So time allotted to these two speakers is 15 minutes. And as ma'am is organizing this thing, so we'd love, as she requested us, then she will be allotted a time of 8 minutes, right? So you guys are okay. So if when it is 13 minutes, I'll be giving you a like alarm of that it is already 13 minutes, and for ma'am it is 5 minutes. I'll be alarming you. Okay.
You don't have to alarm me. You don't have to alarm me.
Okay. So let's start with the session. I would request Ashish Garg sir to start off with.
Thank you so much. It's a wonderful session as informed by everyone. So this is the first time I am attending this conference, and I'm really fortunate enough that I am attending this conference as a panelist and as speaker. It's a first time, and I hope that it will continue for the years to come. It's an international conference on post-COVID economic revival. Friends, the topic is very apt. Faculties are excellent. I know some of them very well. My co-panelist Rupanjana ji, she's very energetic and taking the things all together in a different direction other than the company secretary profession. My earlier Central Council colleague and now a Central Council member of CA Institute, Vijay Jhalani ji, and my co-speaker Sanjeev ji. A very good afternoon to all the friends across the globe. Friends, the fact that the profession of company secretaries has not only established itself as a renowned brand, but has spread across the globe and gained recognition as conscious keepers and governance professionals reminds me an old story related to the life of Lord Gautam Buddha. During his life, Lord Buddha traveled across various villages, met hundreds and thousands of people, gave advice, received love, gave words of wisdom, received affection, and so on. In many of his journey, he is accompanied by disciples, those who were intrigued by his decisions and mesmerized by his wisdom. In one such journey, he came across a village. The villagers requested him to stay with them for a while and, if he may deem fit, give them advice for appropriate life and conduct, to which he happily obliged. During his stay, both him and his disciple noticed that the villagers quarreled a lot. They fought with each other while leaving the village. When he asked for the advice for the future, he asked the people of the village to stay together and no matter what, never leave the village. The villagers were highly obliged. A few days later, a karma stopped at another village. Halting there, they received the same request. He has accepted it. Now, this village was totally different. Not only were the villagers knowledgeable and wise, they knew how to maintain peace and live disciplined life. This time, while leaving the village, when he was asked for the advice, his advice was completely opposite. He asked all the men and women of the village to scatter to as far as possible and not stay grounded to the same village. The villagers thanked him for his stay, but the disciples were left surprised. On being questioned about the opposite advice given to the each village, Lord Buddha replied that if the member of the first village were to spread out, all they would transmit in their imprudence, because they were quarreled, they were fighting with each other. While the members of the second village would share their knowledge and their discipline, their goodness with the world, and hence the opposite advice in each of the two small world, because it will spread the peace, love, and affection to the entire globe. Given the fact that India is home to more than 1/3 of the total company secretaries population, rather half of the company secretaries population across the globe, it seems all the more fitting that not only does the Institute of Company Secretaries of India becomes the forerunner of good governance for the entire CS fraternity globally, but also these professionals becomes the torch bearer of the righteous and ethical professional conduct all over. Friends, the world rebuilding comes with a prefix, which means that what we are trying to deliberate and discuss is the fact that while the world had a stable and sustainable workforce prior to the pandemic, its impact and the altered dynamics of the world as on date requisite a rebuilding of multiple fronts. As we all know, the pandemic struck at a time when various economies globally were struggling to find a sound economic and financial footing. They said, given the global presence of corporates, given the fact that it is not just the corporates, but all the forms of businesses which need and require the support of this brigade of professionals amongst their workforce. And given the hope of recovery, both from the pandemic and at an economic level in the countries, the need of the hour is to have a more holistic as well as international, a global point of view in the wider spread out and wider outreach of professionals hailing from all brigades and hailing from all parts of the world. While the basic economics had taught us the significance of workforce pretty early, it is only in our later stages as professionals did we realize that the workforce serving in any and every arena of the economy needs to have a strong foundation in terms of knowledge, skill set, and given the outgoing circumstances, digital acumen as well. I've seen in one of the webinar when one of the senior doctors of the country was present. He said that India is the country where the nursing staff is going to outside the world and serving the country. It's a economy of more than 100 billion, which is coming to the India while doing this thing. So same thing may happen to the other professionals. Now IT industry is one of the area where all our IT professionals are doing well. Now it's a term of the professionals where chartered accountant, company secretaries, cost accountant, and even an accountant can serve to the other countries very well. So if I'll talk about the travel industry, is to be specifically deliberated, it is a service based industry, and a luck would have leave it the worst hit industry if it was to be adjudged on the basis of the impact of pandemic. While some wonder about the future of the travel industry, as a professional myself and a ardent travel, I've traveled across the breadth and length of the world, all 5 continents. I do believe that the travel industry does have a future. To quote numbers, by 2030, it will be 1.8 billion worldwide tourists a year, according to the United Nations World Tourism Organization. You know much better than me. I've just Googled these data. 400 millions more than last year. However, the face of the travel, as we know, it will change dramatically over the next 20 years. Many developing countries and many islands states are amongst the most dependent on tourism, and their economic recovery will depend on the industry's recovery. And given the service nature, this industry thrives on its workforce. While some of it is visible on the forefront, being the front runners, a larger workforce works as the support system, giving strength to the entire structure. This vast majority of tourism workers work in a small or micro business, restaurant staff, taxi drivers, hotel room services, front desk, craft sellers, museum, guides, whatnot. And not only global corporations. And even further, women make for the majority of the workforce, often in the lower paid roles and the higher paid roles across the level. The need of the hour would seems to be the development of the conducive environment, one which is appropriately regulated, while the government would need to confirm if any overall is needed in the laws governing the industry and the workforce. It is professionals who shall be entrusted with the responsibility of ensuring that the same laws are complied with a true letter and spirit, and the rights of any group are not tarnished. The journey ahead, post the pandemic, post this break in activities, would be one taken together. For us, as a Maha Upanishad preaches us, and I quoted various places, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world, entire world, the whole world is my family. So when the whole world is our family, it is our responsibility. It is a responsibility of each and every citizen of the country to guard it, to protect it, and to bring it back to the attain of the stage of new normalcy. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and we'll take some questions, if any, after the speeches and the talks of all the members. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much, CDS Ashish Garg sir, for enlightening us wonderfully. So question answers will be taken at the end of the sessions when all the speakers have given their views. So right now I request CA Dr. Sanjeev Singhal sir to enlighten us about his thoughts on the topic.
Sure. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to all. The government nominee in our council, Vijay Jalani ji, my fellow panelists, the Honorable President of the Institute of Company Secretary, Ashish Garg ji, my fellow panelists, Rituparna ji, and the audience from the entire globe. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. I'm going to talk about the role of the professional in building a global workforce, and I'll just share a few slides, only 3 slides, and I would like to give my thought process by means of these slides. Can the organizer confirm, is the screen visible? Can the organizers confirm
Yes,
whether
sir,
this?
it is.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
thank
it
you.
is visible. Please
Thank
go
you,
ahead.
thank you. So building a global workforce what's the role of the professionals? Everyone talks about COVID-19, and COVID-19 has come as a shock in the life of everyone. But as chairman of the Sustainability Reporting Standard Board of the ICI, we have seen that how much focus has moved on to the sustainability. The earth was taking a break during this lockdown. The carbon emissions were down to the pre-industrial levels. We have seen the birds and the animals on the road and the people inside the houses. Unprecedented times. Unprecedented in the sense that it happens once in 100 years. And it also gives an alarm bell as to what we are doing to our earth. What are the ways in we work? What are the ways in we live? And now, when all this has happened, people are saying, are we going to come back to the normal? There are various theories around it. There are people who says that we will have a V-shaped recovery as shown in the picture, that there is a curve which is going down and then it goes up. So are we going to have that? That is contingent on a vaccine or effective treatment by this quarter. And it also depends on the government stimulus and the world economy stage a recovery to the pre-crisis level. If that happens, there is another scenario which is at the bottom, which is the pessimist scenario, which is an L-shaped scenario. That is, the economy goes down and it remains there, Now, whether that's going to happen, that will happen if there's a prolonged mobility restrictions reinforced due to the lack of effective treatments, increased fiscal and inflationary pressures, and flight of capital and foreign exchange depreciation, and the personal business and potentially sovereign defaults. But the most likely scenario to me is the picture in the middle, which is a seesaw-shaped recovery, that it has gone down, economy has gone down. Now there'll be rounds of recovery and rounds of fall. So what I'm expecting is that lockdowns will be the norm of the day. So maybe we'll have a recovery or an unlocking for a quarter, then maybe a lockdown for another month, maybe a recovery for another quarter or so. And these type of trends may actually continue because people are saying that that COVID-19 will come back again in the second phase. So if that happens, that may be the new normal, recovery with ups and the downs. So then the chances are we will shift to a quality economy. And a quality economy will focus on cleanliness, will focus on hygiene, will focus on sustainability. In the quality economy, the key drivers of the shift will be the environment. Probably there'll be learnings from the involuntary positive impact on the environment. Now we have seen that what does fresh air mean? What does blue sky mean? So will this create business opportunity? Yes. Yesterday in my discussion with the Security Exchange Board of India, now SEBI is talking about social stock exchange. They are talking about the social impact indicators and the audit of the same. So, well, we can talk about the socialpreneurs instead of the business entrepreneurs. So the NGOs could also take a lead on this social stock exchange, and this could lead to a great business opportunity. Solidarity. When social distancing becomes a norm, there will be room for charitable business models. Consumption. Can we consume more sustainability? There was a WhatsApp on the so-called WhatsApp University during this pandemic that while resources, while you may have money to buy everything, but resources belong to the whole society. So please consume responsibly. So we have seen the scarcity for the first time in decades. Can we learn our lessons? Technology. Will we embrace technology? Has to be. This very meeting on Zoom is an indicator that travel has significantly reduced. While my fellow panelist, Ashish ji, mentioned that he has traveled across the length and breadth of the globe. Probably, they may not be much takers for a travel in future. One, because of the infection. And secondly, because of the need to contribute to a sustainable environment, because the carbon emissions which are generated because of travel are massive. India is already at 7% of the carbon emissions in the whole world. There's a need to significantly reduce carbon emissions, and everything matters. One plastic bottle matters. Don't think it's just one plastic bottle for me. Work life will be balanced wealth accretion with better quality of life. People have realized that fitness and health also matters. If you don't have any other problem, the chances of survival during COVID were much higher. Globalization. Will there be globalization or will there be protectionism? The move is towards making sure that the citizens of that country interest is taken first. Cost structure. Maybe now the physical headquarters will be replaced by the virtual headquarters, and there could be variable contracts with partners, suppliers, and employees. Financing. We'll need to plan with a greater safety net and strengthen the working capital management. In the supply chain, business will aim at portfolio risk, and the production could be localized now. Companies are shifting from China. We want them to shift to India. And there's a concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is a self-reliant India. Demand. How to ensure continuity of the demand, particularly for the hospitality sector, for the tourism, for the aviation, for the automobiles, for the real estate. How to digitize further, and is there a significant shift in the sales channel? And we'll see that there's a role of the professionals in all these aspects. Building on to this, I would now talk about that what is the role of professionals in building a global workforce, and I will divide it into three: now, next, and beyond. Now means what can be done now, maybe now to 6 months. Next could be 6 months to maybe 1.5 to 2 years, and beyond will be 2 years and beyond. So first is identify and prioritize the critical resources. Professional will help the world in identifying which resource is the key, who are the people who possess multidisciplinary skills and probably make up for the lost resources. How to communicate to and engage with the workforce, because during COVID everything is virtual. So how do you keep your workforce motivated? And how to manage employee wellness, because if employees are not fit, then obviously they'll not be able to give the best of their ability. So the idea is to maintain your employee base, and maybe if required, reduce it, and in that case, prioritize the critical resources. And obviously the professionals are helping building the new compensation models. For example, people are shifting to the fixed and variable compensation models, where they are saying the variable part you will get if you are able to perform and the company is able to perform. So the professionals are playing a very important role in the new salary structures, and they are also particularly the IT professionals are playing an important role in reskilling the people, because if you need a global workforce who can work globally while sitting in their house, then you need the technology to work on. The next phase will be define the innovative performance measurement. Now, many people come to me and they ask that, fine, we are permitted work from home, but how do I ensure, how do I measure the performance? Well, one will have to divide the work into the measurable units. See, for example, if an employee is filing the GST returns, you may identify his performance as you have to file so many GST returns in a day, and the accuracy level has to be, say, 99%. So in that case, you can benchmark it. You can benchmark that what is the work that he actually did. Now, whether he works in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening, that is best left to that employee. And in this process, focus on productivity. For example, if you identify 200 working hours in a month, you ask the employees to fill the timesheets, which gives the breakup of these 200 hours on which job or which client or which activity of the organization they spend this time. And the total has to add up to 200. To enforce the discipline, What can also be done is that the salary could be released on a partial basis. Say, for example, an employee is lazy, he fills only 120 hours. So you release 60% of the salary and balance 40% you release when the timesheet is filled with appropriate job description. And then we have to build on flexible manpower and compensation mode. I certainly see a possibility of increasing diversity. A lot of women who wanted to work part-time, probably that's the right time now. We can build flexible models and offer them an option of part-time work, maybe 100 hours a month or 50 hours a month, and build the compensation around that. Looking beyond, we have to define and transition to this new people operating model that we talked about, institutionalize the digital ways of working. We also have to engage with the workforce and ensure that the data confidentiality is maintained. No mode of communication is happening through WhatsApp and Gmail. It should be through the official mail IDs. Their environment, the work environment at home should be secured. There should be proper firewalls within their gadgets on which they are working. And then we should also work on the contingency plans. So maybe people will work once or twice a week from office, and rest of the time they will work from home. But every day they should take the office to home. When I say take the office to home, all papers are digital, and there could be a policy of bring your own device. So the laptop is taken home every day so that if tomorrow there is a lockdown, they can work from home. So certainly the professionals play a very, very important role, and professionals like chartered accountants are building these models to help build a global workforce and to ensure that the work doesn't stop and the world doesn't stop. So all of us will have to be innovative, will have to be creative, and as professionals and as chartered accountants, we can certainly play an important role, and we are playing an important role. Of course, all professionals, whether IT professionals or company secretaries or MBAs or engineers or the cost accountants, all have their roles to play. And this can also lead to significant cost reduction and cost optimization, because the need for the physical infrastructure will go down significantly. For example, when I talk to the small and mid-sized firms, in my space, I advise them earlier, if you have a 50-50 ratio, if you have 50 employees and you build infrastructure for 25, now you build it for 15. You give them an option to work, say, twice a week from home. Their productivity will go up if you have the right norms in place, and you will also save on the physical infrastructure, do that investment in the digital infrastructure. With this, I would like to end my talk at this point of time. And thank you very much to Curiosity and to ICST for giving me this opportunity to present my views on this very important topic. Thank you very much. And I'll be taking up the questions in the question answer session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, CA Dr. Sanjeev Singhal, sir. It was quite informative. Now I would request CS Rupanjana De ma'am, editor Curiosity, to throw some light on this topic.
Good afternoon, everybody. It has been a. Am I audible? Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So it was a privilege to listen to two great speakers back to back. I have always been a big fan of Ashish Garg's oration skills, and I wonder, how he talks about. I think I told him earlier also once he had, addressed a very big gathering in Newtown, Kolkata. So he has so many things to say. He knows about the Vedas and all, and he talked about everything. And of course, it was a very pleasure to listen to the very learned CA Dr. Singhalji, and we are having him for the first time. I'm listening to him for the first time, so it's a very big privilege for me. And I'm a practicing company secretary, so being a practicing professional of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India, I would rather talk about, I mean, there's nothing, no relation with curiosity here, but the topic is especially related to the role of professionals in the post-COVID area. As for me, the last 5 months, in fact, today is 21st, so more than 5 months, 4 days, I'm stuck at home. I have not gone outside my home. And the reason is my father. I could have gone, but I am worried that I might bring home the infection. So I'm a little worried. Even though my office is not very far away from my home, I'm not going out. But what has happened in the last few months is that I believe every professional, I mean, the frustration about the lockdown, the economy, and the professional scenario, that aside, one positive thing that has happened for all of us is that we have learned to do a lot of things which, I mean, online, digitally, which we would have ideally done, you know, at the client office or gone to our own office and done it. So now we know what are the things that we can do sitting at home, and it's not necessary that for everything you have to go to your office. So this is a positive side, which I recognize. Of course, there are many negative sides of what has happened in our profession over the last, in our, for all professions, not just for ours. In the session previous to this one, you know, one of the speakers was presenting the statistics about what other professionals, you know, not not the CA, CS and cost accountants, but the other professionals, how they are suffering on a day-to-day basis because they used to earn, you know, based on assignments that they had every day. Now their income has drastically, you know, come down. But of course, thankfully, we belong to a very, you know, highly respected and very you know, highly regarded profession for corporate governance, and a lot of our work can be done online, which is the best part. And thanks to NCA, we have also got a lot of opportunities, a lot of relaxations, I would say, where we can now, you know, do a lot of things online, like there was relaxation for board meetings, the time limit, the AGMs has been allowed online, the board meetings are being now done via video conferencing, and everybody has got used to it. Now many, you know, companies are also saving time and the expenses involved with the logistics to certain extent. This is a saving for the company, for the companies also. But then there are certain areas which still problems persist. Like, for example, professionals to a large extent are denied payment by companies, even though companies might be doing, some companies, not all companies, they might be doing, you know, online or export, you know, turnovers and all, but they are not, they have an excuse for professionals. I feel like I have heard it from many professionals, CA and CS. Personally, I don't have that experience, but they have denied payment. They have requested the company secretaries or chartered accountants, you know, that please accept 50%. So it's not, I mean, that is the negative part. And the question is, how long is that going to remain is a very big question. And that is a frustrating part for us, because the professionals are doing the same work. In fact, sometimes it's difficult to maintain the entire team digitally, you know, directing from home your various employees, your staff across various, you know, locations in the city. It is difficult, you know, holding board meetings online. There are good things about it. There are difficult things about it. But they are, in the professionals are to a certain extent at the you know, receiving end of the, you know, the negative impact of the COVID. Also talking about the auditing, the auditors are having a very difficult time. Hopefully the institutes come up with something on this. I'm sure the institutes will do, and the annual general meetings, there has not been, to my knowledge, there has not been any extension of the time limit for holding AGM as of now. Normally, normally the law is, if you want an extension, you apply to the the ROC, the NCA. And the ROC will give you the extension based on your from case to case basis. So that is what I believe still exists, and the extension of general extension because of the pandemic, because of the COVID, has not been granted yet, which is something I think most of us professionals are looking forward to, because this is especially difficult for auditors and also difficult for companies, because without proper auditing and all, how can you hold an AGM, and how is that audit report going to be foolproof with respect to fairness, transparency, and that? And the auditors are also, putting their lives and the lives of articles at risk. So I think this is one point which maybe, since there are representatives of two prominent institutions, professional institutes, this is also my request to them to look into it and to do something, if possible, to make a delegation to the MCA and see if there can be a general extension of the time limit, at least in this situation, as a special case. Otherwise, of course, in life, we all have got a little time to look back to our hobbies and not take too much pressure, as we professionals are, ill famous for doing. So we are taking a little relaxed steps. That is a good thing, but some, some respite has also to come in regard to these compliances. So I would conclude here. I request the moderators to take forward from here.
Thank you so much, CS Rupanjanade ma'am, for enlightening us the real scenario the professionals are going through. I would now request CS Mohit Shah to take up with the question answer round.
I will now request the participants to kindly ping their questions for the respected panel in the chat box.
Unmute coach and unmute coach.
I have a question.
I guess.
Mohit, I have
Yes,
a question here.
Yes, sir.
I have a question from Ashish Garg, President of Institute of Company Secretaries. President, sir, most of the executive of the company and most of the practicing chartered accountants or company secretaries, they are working from home. So I just want to know from the President Company Secretaries that are you going to relax certain conditions which you have put in your Secretary Standard 1 and Secretary Standard 2? Are you relaxing certain conditions?
Sir, I think when we have made, I think Rupanjana ji has also talked about the representation to the MCA. But I would like to tell you, because one of the question is also there, which I'll take up later, that we as an Institute of Company Secretaries of India, other than giving the benefits to the members and students, we are the institute who have represented to the ministry so many times about all the relaxations. And most of the relaxations, if you will go through what the MCA has come out, whether it's a video conferencing meeting or whether it's an extension of certain dates, it is on the basis of the representation of the ICSI. And as rightly pointed out by Jalani ji, that whether ICSI is ready to give the relaxation on secretarial standards 1 and 2 regarding the general meetings and the board meetings. Sir, if you will go through, when the ministry has come out the circular, immediately after that, ICSI has given the clarification that the certain norms, as far as these norms are concerned, related to the relaxations given by the ministry, secretarial standard has to be interpreted in those lines only. Because I think you are also there. I think rather he is putting this question to me. I should ask this question to him, because he is a nominee member at the Secretarial Standard Board of the ICSI, and he is representing the CA Institute in the Secretarial Standard Board of ICSI. So he should come out all such relaxations on behalf of both the institutes. But sir, we have already come out certain relaxations, and secretarial standard should be read in line only with the Companies Act and the rules and the regulations. So already we have given the relaxation. I think simultaneously I'll take up the another question which Rupanjana ji has raised about the representation to the ministry on the AGM extension, or it may be a general extension, or whatsoever like this. Actually, we have discussed this issue in great detail and great length with the officials of the ministry, and they have certain reservations as far as this ordinance is required, or whether it's amendment in the act is concerned, because we have already given them the example that while the EPA period ended 31st of December, they have given the relaxation that instead of 30 June, companies can do the AGM till 30th of September. So the same thing they can take up for this 30th September. And I think Jalani ji is very much aware. We have discussed in detail, and both the institutions and given the representation. Further that also I have discussed it, whether automatic, like they have said, it requires amendment in the act. So they have given a general relaxation that yes, you can apply to the ROC and ROC will give. But we know it's a cumbersome process. We have to apply, ROC will examine and give. We have already given a suggestion that it can be an auto mode form, that once you apply, and automatically like a STP mode form, the extension should come. So these are under the discussion. Definitely we'll take it forward. And for the benefit of the members, I would like to tell all of you that Jalani ji, being a member in the Chartered Accountant Institute as a government nominee, he was government nominee in CS Institute also. He has taken up so many measures which is other than in the capacity of the government nominee. He has taken up to the ministry through certain other sources. Once the good information and the good news will come, I'll share the way how we are approaching to the ministry for this certain measures. One more question is there in the chat box about to CS Garg. Any specific measures of the ICSI is planning on taking post of the pandemic for its members' profession in general? Sahib Ghosh has asked this question, but I am really thanks to Mr. Bharat Bhushan Sharma, because it's always a benefit when you are sharing the dais with a doctor friend who is a PhD holder. Other people also used to call the other panelists as a doctorate. So it's an honor for me that today I also got the doctorate awarded from this Turicity webinar. So regarding this, any specific measures, because he has written, good afternoon, Dr. Ashish. So thank you so much. Now, any specific measure ICSI is planning on taking post-pandemic for its members and profession in general? Friends, as all of you are aware that we have come out so many opportunities, so many certificate course, so many webinars, who's and who's of the ministry, who's and who's from the social world, industrial world. So Jalani ji was witness when we have invited the Honorable Deputy CM of Bihar, who was the chairman of GST committee. So many things we have come out during this pandemic for the knowledge sharing of the members. Because we know that while you are sitting at home, and very nicely pointed out by Dr. Sanjeev Singhal, that you have to balance between the work from home and work from office. It cannot be a one way. So while our members were at home, we have come out with certain capacity building programs. So while you will go into the field after this COVID over, so you will have a different opportunities, whether it will be a woman director, independent director, POSH, or corporate meetings, CSR. So many opportunities we have given. As far as this relaxation for the members and the students, I think both the institute, I'm not taking the credit only to the CA Institute or the CS Institute, but both the institutes have done fairly enough in the interest of the members and the students, whether it's a postponing of the exams, whether it is giving certain relaxations in exams, fees, and everything is there. So both the institutes, because we all know that our future company secretaries, our students are our future governance professionals. So we don't want to take any chance for their safety and security. We have deliberated so many times during formal and informal chat with both the institutes and the government and the government nominees. So we are thankful to them for a proper guidance, and we have taken all the benefits. and taking post specific measures. So yes, we are coming out with the different schemes which already other institutes have also come out for the hand holding of our members.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful response. Any other question for any other speaker?
Sanjeev is there? Sanjeev Singhal is there?
Yes, I'm there, Jalani ji.
Sanjeev ji, when I was deliberating my, speech, I got a question that what the Institute of Chartered Accountant is doing for sustainability development program. So now you are the chairman of sustainability reporting standard board of the CA Institute. Please tell the participant briefly that what are your plans being the chairman of that board?
Sure, Jalani ji. This is really nice. I think I have got an opportunity to share what we are doing, and I would like to acknowledge that we receive significant guidance from you also, and I really feel blessed that we have the guidance from you. So the Sustainability Reporting Standard Board has been formed this year on 12th of February with the new President Atul Gupta ji taking over. So under the wisdom of President and Vice President Nehar ji. So what we are doing is to create awareness. First, we started creating awareness. We did a program on World Environment Day. We did a national webinar on sustainability. We did a global webinar on sustainability. And now we are moving beyond that. We are launching a 5-day certificate course, a 5-day executive development program on the new business responsibility reporting. We are starting a 12-day certificate course on enhanced corporate reporting. We have come out with the concept of a sustainability quotient, where we are asking that you can check your sustainability quotient, that which of the 17 sustainable development goal you are aligned to. So we are asking you questions on which film you like, which song you like. So about 10 such questions we are asking, and based on the answers, we are saying that, which goal you are closer to. This is a United Nations fun quiz, and we are identifying 17 champions of sustainability for the 17 sustainable development goal. We'll give them an appreciation certificate, and we are also working on the 17 booklets on the sustainable development goal, how the professionals can contribute, how the individuals can contribute in their day-to-day life. We are also working on a case study along with the IIRC on the top 50 companies in India, how they have adopted integrated reporting and how it's been beneficial for them. And I can also say that we are partnered with IIRC for the programs that we are launching. So we have a lot in our kitty. We are developing the auditing guidelines also for the audit of the new BRR and also for the social impact indicators. So there is a lot, and I invite everyone to be a part of a fantastic journey. And the journey also gives us satisfaction that we are contributing towards saving our planet where we live in. Thank you very much, Jalani ji, for asking this question.
Thank you, Sanjeev sir, for your wonderful response. Participants, this was a wonderful session in which our panelists enlightened us on various aspects of the topic. I'm grateful to all the 3 speakers and especially the organizers for giving me an opportunity to be a part as a moderator of this event. Thank you all, and just a gentle reminder, session 4 will be commencing from 2 p.m. on exact time, Indian Standard Time. So be there on time, take a break, and we'll be right back. Thank you.
Mohit, the next session. Yes. I would request those who are already logged in to maybe just take a break of 10 minutes and return at around 2:57. We have 2 speakers, scholarly persons from Poland, from the Silesian University of Poland, and they will be talking about sustainable transport. So hope to see all of you back in 10 minutes time. Thank you.